Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movie Mortis, where Movie Madness lives. I'm Nick.
And I'm Drew.
And today, we're talking about a horror movie. I don't know if we're calling this series a Horror Matters anymore, since the episodes are kind of blended together from time to time. Do we still want to call this series My Horror Matters, or...
I don't really care, to be honest.
Okay, well, this is the podcast, and today we're talking about Creepshow. What year did this movie come out again? 1986?
1982.
82, yeah,
1982.
because Pet Cemetery came out in 84, the book. Anyways. So, Drew, can you explain this movie? Because I know nothing about this movie, and you've watched it before.
What do you, what do you mean you know? No, you watched it for the
I mean, I did
podcast,
watch
right?
it, but I feel like you have the proper background. You have the proper background. You can
Okay.
explain it better than
Okay.
I can.
Okay.
I saw this
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay. So Creepshow is a it's kind of a unique movie because it's a horror anthology film released in 1982, and it was directed by horror legend George A. Romero from a screenplay by horror legend Stephen King. Um, do I need to explain to the audience who those two people are?
I hope not. I mean, we literally
Yeah.
covered a Stephen King movie like several episodes ago, so
We have not talked about we talked about Stephen King a little bit on the podcast because we did Pet
we did Pet
Cemetery.
Cemetery, the 1980 version.
Yeah, yeah. But we have not talked about George Romero at all on this
Oh
podcast.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so George Romero, I'm sure you all know, he is a father of the zombie film. He did directed Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies with the word "dead" in the title.
Yeah.
Um, but he also directed Creepshow. And what's interesting about Creepshow is that yes, it's a horror anthology movie, but more specifically, it is a it's heavily based around EC Comics, which was a comic line from the 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
which was it was a horror comic. They had multiple different horror series. So they had The Vault of Horror, Tales from the Crypt, and a few others. And so a lot of this movie, Creepshow, is heavily inspired by those comics because both George A. Romero and Stephen King both grew up reading those comics, and it's what a large part of what got both of them into horror when they were younger.
Yeah.
So they made this movie to be as like an homage to those comics.
And I say it does a pretty darn good job at that. I'm just gonna go on a whim and say it. This movie has a very cool style to it. Like, first of all, you can already tell it's an '80s movie, but it does a great job at trying to replicate those old comic books, those old horror comics. Like, not in terms of both in terms of like atmosphere, but also we gotta talk about the animated transitions, like the opening credits, the transitions between every story. Shut up, Thunder. Yeah, the transitions where they're like showing the pages and going by. It's just it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Page Master or the opening to Honey I Shrunk the Kids. I think that's really cool. Oh, and there are certain moments too where like it's framed like a comic too. It's framed like an old '80s comic. Like there's a scene from I think there's one from the first story, the Father's Day cake one, where
Yeah.
it's being told the flashback and you see like a little frame like
Yeah,
uh,
there's kind of I mean we'll go into detail about the segments individually in a little bit, but there's definitely a lot of moments where there's one moment in the crate where a similar thing happens. There's one in um
creeping on
something
you.
to tide you yeah, creeping on you, something to tide you over. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
moment like
that
that
one.
too near the end. There's a it very much adds this whole movie has feels like an adaptation of a comic book. Like you're looking into a comic book and you're seeing a live action version of that. And
Mm-hmm.
and those transitions and those little animated things between segments, like they do such a good job of how even some of the lighting choices during some of the scenes, like whenever something scary is happening, you'll see like a big red light come from the side. And that also adds very much to like the campy comic book feel to
Yeah,
it, which I think is very cool.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Like there are moments like where I feel like I notice a lot when the characters like scream in horror when they're about to face their demise, like in the Tide Will Keep You Over and the Crate as well. Which I'm just like, dang, that this is like something out of a this is like something out of a drive-in movie and not just a comic. Or like I don't know, some musicians they like use old footage of like old horror movies where characters clearly behind like a bunch of props or behind another screen. It definitely I don't know. It felt like I was if it it I don't know if it's like part of the time or the style. I apologize for my stutter. Please don't make fun of me. And it's just again, it captures that style really well. Like I want to call it like 80s pulp or something.
You can also call it 50s pulp.
50s pulp, yeah, yeah. That too. 50s pulp, that too. It definitely was very it's got a good style to it. Very good style. That's all I have to
Yeah, and
say
it's like,
about
and
that.
it's like, and you can clearly tell Romero and King, like they really love these comics. Like you can tell the love for those comics very much come through in the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say the little bit of background on a little bit more background on EC Comics. They were their horror series was basically, which is kind of like what their bread and butter was. They basically went out of business after the Comics Code Authority when it came into place, because
Dang.
they were actually like one of the main reasons for there was a moral panic surrounding comic books in the 1950s, and the EC Comics horror series was a huge part of that.
Hmm.
Like even like during like there's even like Senate hearings and everything about these comics, and a lot of the EC horror comics were very much a big part of that. Like, oh, it's they're corrupting our children, all that, all and all that stuff. And
They have used
so,
censorship.
yeah, and it's funny now because like the Comics Code Authority literally isn't even a thing anymore, and violence is just a normal part of comics these
Oh
days.
yeah,
But it's
absolutely. Freaking Garth Ennis has his whole career of being a complete edge lord in the comics world.
yeah, yes, and so I guess you could say like the horror comics were kind of like the edgelord comics of the 50s, basically.
Yeah.
And and so yeah, I figured that and again you can tell that Romero and King are fans of those comics,
Oh yeah.
and it just fucking sucks that the government had to come and censor all of those because of parents. And I also like that, to kind of get into the movie a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I love that opening segment
Oh yeah.
because it basically portrays how people felt about how parents felt about these comics in the 50s
Oh
when these
yeah.
comics came out. Because they have the dad, who's played by Tom Atkins, by the way, um, who who's like, he's like, oh, you kid, you shouldn't be reading this. You shouldn't be reading this. It's gonna corrupt your mind. All that. Oh, and by the way, the kid in the wraparound segments at the beginning and at the end
Mm-hmm.
is played by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I know Stephen. I know like. I actually know like in Pet Cemetery, Stephen King plays as like the priest, but he also plays as another character in this movie as well. He plays as Gordy was his name, the farmer. Jordy, yeah. Jordy.
Jordy Verrill.
Jordy Verrill, the
Um,
guy who becomes a tree
so-
and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, to get back to the opening scene, it's like
Yeah.
I really like that. It references the sort of like the what led to the downfall of EC Comics,
That's crazy.
and
That's that
and
knowing that adds another layer to the opening.
yeah, and I really love the design. I like the design of the creep. The guy who comes through the window.
Yeah.
I at one point had a NECA figure of that creep. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I love how it transitions from live action right into the comic book transition, like I into the and then into the first segment, which is really cool.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a
So
very nice transition. And
yeah, so I guess so I go ahead.
I like how the creep begins and the is shown in the beginning as like a live action still, like points to the kid like, oh yeah, don't worry, kid, he'll get his comeuppance. And then
Yeah,
like
yeah,
at the end, the creep is like holding his own version of the comic. It's just like very meta, very meta.
yeah. So I guess we should probably start talking about the segments individually now. So let's start with the
Let's
first one.
go.
Let's start with the first one, Father's Day.
I will be
I
real with
um,
you. I
What's
could
up?
not take that seriously. That was way too goofy. Like that was way too silly for me.
Oh, the segment.
Yeah, the segment. It was very silly.
It was goofy. It was a little good. It was goofy.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
And it also has Ed Harris doing some of the worst dancing I've ever seen.
Like I like no joke, Drew. Like between that segment and like the middle of the second segment, which we'll get to later. Like I was saying to myself, is this just gonna be like a more of a goofy comedy than a horror movie? I'm not to say like I was legit shaking in my pants, but we'll talk more about that later as it kind of went along. But guys,
Yeah.
what do you think about Father's Day?
I thought it's not my favorite segment in the movie, but I will say it's a really good like starter segment because it has a lot of elements of what you think of in terms of like a classic horror story where it's like you have this family and
Mm-hmm.
there's this sort of backstory that someone explains in like
Yeah.
exposition as like a bit of a family legend. There's
Mm-hmm.
always the basis of horror horror stories has always been like telling horror stories around like a campfire to a group of people, and it
Yeah.
feels like this story Father's Day is kind of like that in a little bit because like you have the it starts off with the family and they're getting ready for their Father's Day banquet or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you have that I forget the character's name, but you have that woman who kind of tells the couple of the story of what happened to their father and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I also really like the set design of this
Mm-hmm.
particular segment as well, especially like that little cemetery. I think that's really was a really cool set design as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I definitely see what you're coming from in terms of like the goofiness of it. Because like when you really think about it, the father rises from the grave after again I forget the character's name, where she spills fucking alcohol on her grave, and he comes
Yeah.
back to life. And he's like, I want my cake. It's like the dude wants fucking cake.
Let them eat cake. Yeah.
uh,
Even the ending, I was just like, what the fudge?
it's really bizarre because he just comes because like at one point he's like killing people. He kills Ed Harris's character.
Yeah.
Comes from the grave and he gets revenge on the person who killed him, and
Yeah.
then he kills the lady who tells the story. Again, I forget. I remember. I forget
It's all
what
right.
her fucking name was. Sorry, viewers. Um, and then you have the two people who are left, and he just comes out of the kitchen with a fucking cake, and he's like, "I got my cake," and the characters are screaming, and that's how it ends.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. Just it felt more like a dark comedy, if anything. That about that segment in particular.
Again, it's '50s pulp.
That's true. That is fair. I'm not trying to say every piece of horror should be super serious. Like I like the first Scream movie, which I plan on watching the second one day,
Yeah.
and the rest of the
Um.
series since I still have Paramount Plus.
Yeah. So yeah, Father's Day is pretty good. I think uh trying to remember. Uh yeah, Father's Day is a really good starter segment for this movie because it has a lot of like I even like I wonder because the woman who kills her father um she comes to the mansion in like an old like car from like the 1930s or 40s. So I'm just kind of wondering when does this story take place? It's like, or do they just drive old cars in that in particular universe?
Hmm. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about Father's Day. It was all right. I didn't particularly like it, and kind of a weak start, if I'm being honest.
I just remembered too the design of the undead father character is a bit much.
It feels like
But
a
I
more
think
it feels like a more gory version of like the Last Crusade guy who like melts into a skeleton.
yeah, but again, it's going back to he feels like a 1950s era horror monster mixed with a zombie or something. So
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
he's almost like a Scooby Doo villain.
he
Almost.
is. Um, would you like to go on to the next one?
Yes, let's go on to the next one, which
This
is the gruesome death of Jordy Verrill.
The Lonely Death of
The
Jordy
one
Verrill.
where
So this was an interesting one, actually. This was actually
yeah,
pretty interesting. So yeah, I think it kind of started off like Father's Day, where it was like very goofy, especially with the protagonist acting like a dim-witted hillbilly and having all these fantasies saying, "I'm going to get a lot of money. Oh no, the meteor's broken. I'm not going to get my money. Oh, I should go visit the doctor. No, I should get my fingers amputated." Just like what? But then like when it gets to the fantasy of his dad, he I think it really started to pick up, especially the very last segment. Was like, God, please, I know I've been unlucky, but let me have this once. And he like shoots. That was like very morbid, and it
yeah.
kind of gets more like horror. It gets more creepy knowing that the plants and the weeds are going to the outskirts of town. And here's the thing: I don't know if the plants will affect the other humans because like Gordy, what is his name? Gordy. So I don't know why I keep
Jordy,
thinking Jordy.
Jordy.
Jordy, right? Like Jordy Jordan. But anyways, Jordy, when I feel like Jordy only got infected, he actually touched the meteor and then like licked it. So I don't know if touching the weeds will eventually infect you, but it does leave that lingering thought of oh crap. Plus, there is a visual novel I read that, or one of the endings is kind of similar to that, except it's much more disturbing and bleak. But I digress.
Yeah, and of course, this is the segment where the only real actor in this segment is Stephen King himself.
That's true.
And man, can you tell he's not an actor?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I something about the way he's acting like the main. Something I can't. Something like he did fine as the priest in Pet Cemetery. That was only like a 1 second cameo. This was just like, what are you doing, man? This is like SNL tier.
And also the do you know what's the one line he can't deliver? He delivers that I laugh at every time.
Let's hear it.
It's when he gets the the um the thing from the meteor on his hand, and he just goes meteor shit.
Meteor shit.
I fucking laugh at that every
Hmm.
time.
I don't blame you.
And I've seen this movie a handful of times. I forgot to mention earlier, viewers. I saw this movie on Shudder several years ago. That's how I
Yeah.
became a fan. I know, viewers, you can't see this, but I do have a steel book right here, and I have a
Uh-huh.
poster on my wall from Creepshow.
Yeah.
It's a movie I like very much. But anyways, um, but yeah, I fucking laugh at that every single time because like it's so ridiculous and so hammy, but it's like I love it though.
Oh yeah.
uh, because yes, it's a goofy, but at the same time, it's like you can tell that the filmmakers aren't Romero. They're having fun with it. They're
Oh
not
yeah, they're having a
taking it
crap ton of
seriously.
fun. They love it,
Yeah.
and if viewers, it sounds like I'm dissing the movie for being a goofy comedy. No, no, like for me, it took a while to get going. It took a while to get going, in my honest opinion. It took a while to get going.
Yeah, but I will say though this particular segment actually might be like one of my least favorite segments in the movie, to be honest.
Ooh, even more
Um,
than Father's Day.
mm, I don't know because the the whole premise of this particular segment is very random when you really think about it. Because okay, you have this guy on a farm. A meteor shoots down, lands on his farm. It opens up and it turns everything into a plant, and it turns him into a big bush. Like, how did
Yeah,
they come up with that? It's kind of
that's
random when you think about
that's
it.
basically the plot to Annihilation.
I haven't seen Annihilation.
It was
Um,
mediocre. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, hot take, viewers. That's a hot take. That's a hot take. Everyone loves Annihilation except me and my dad. I watched it with my dad, and we just thought, eh, it was mediocre. Has some
yeah,
good ideas, but was mediocre. Anyways,
yeah.
yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I like pretty much every segment in this movie. So it's
Oh
like
yeah,
I'm not
and
saying that as
li-
like a bad thing.
like I said, like the beginning segment was very goofy and dim-witted, but like like after he wakes up from the dream, it really started picking up for me.
Yeah. And yeah, the end, the like you kind of said earlier, the ending is very bleak.
Oh
And
yeah.
I will say before we get into the other segments, with Father's Day, and I want to say like the next two segments after this one, but have a bit of a recurring theme of revenge.
Oh yeah.
I'll
Oh
explain.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't think this one really has it. This one's just a simple story about a guy who turns into a plant and then kills himself.
Hmm.
Um, but the other segments do have. There's not, because I know when they were writing this movie, when they were making this movie, they didn't really like do it with the intention of having like a recurring theme or something. They're all just separate stories. They're all, all these segments individually can be like short film basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they didn't really like think of any recurring themes. But the one recurring theme there was in a few of these segments is revenge, and that was actually a pretty common recurring theme in the EC comics. So
Oh, have you
yeah,
actually read the EC comics, Drew? I'm just curious.
I
You seem,
I
you
I
seem to know a lot
have
about them.
not. I have not. Um, but I've read parts of them. I'll say that I've read parts of them. So,
Revenge is a very interesting topic.
Nick, do you have anything else to say about the gruesome death of Jordy Verrill?
Um, Not really, except the more you think about it, the more creepy it gets, and the ending is pretty ambiguous, and I think that kind of
Yeah.
adds a little layer of fear to it. And yes, again, it started off very goofy and dumb, but it kind of started to pick up. It really it started to pick up, and then
No,
I like it.
now that I think about it, Father's Day was a segment that kind of started a bit more serious, but then ended up goofy. But then this was a segment that started goofy and ended serious.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
kind of feel like I kind of like the opposite sort of trajectory of those segments.
Uh
But
huh.
anyways, you want to move on to the next one, next segment?
Yes, the tide will keep you.
Something to tide you over.
Something that tied you over. This segment was super cool. I
I
really
I
love.
love I love this segment. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
the main antagonist, man. Just
Leslie Nielsen, like that dude did not get enough credit for, like, people know him for like Airplane and The Naked Gun and his more
that's
like
why he
comedic
looks so
movies.
familiar. I was like, that can't be the
Yeah,
guy from Naked Gun. It's like, oh my gosh, it is the guy from Naked Gun.
but it's like he plays this role with such seriousness, but
I
it's like
know,
it works so well because the dude is a psychopathic millionaire who's trying to get
dude.
revenge.
He fits that role so well. Like the way he's often joking, but then like he's like, oh yeah, you're actually gonna die. Like he's just so casual about it.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
kind of he reminds me of Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul, except a lot more dapper and formal and just oh my gosh, that guy is like a sadistic mofo, you know?
Yeah, and it's like the dude owns a fucking entire beach property, and it's like
Yeah,
as he's fucking burying Ted Danson of all people in the sand, he's
yeah.
like he's like I own this whole property. Nobody can hear you scream. There's no help coming for you. You're fucked. Do what I say.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
And the fact he
all
willingly does
because he
this in
fucked his
order,
wife.
yeah, and that like drowning's like one of the most probably has to be a very horrifying way to die, man.
Yeah.
Like no joke. I didn't think the tide would like rise up all the way covering his head, but like that last time was
Yeah.
like, oh shit. Oh, sugar honey iced tea.
Yeah.
Like, cause
Uh,
I thought it was just gonna be him getting splashed all with water, hence him saying "hold your breath." I was like, oh, it doesn't seem so bad. Oh shit, never mind, never mind. Fuck, that's hell. That is hell. That's like one of the worst ways to die.
yeah. Also, I think something else that makes this segment work for me too, is that I have a bit of a fear of the ocean. Like the ocean fucking terrifies me, and the thought of like being buried in the sand, waiting for the tide from the ocean to fucking take you with it is like scary to me. And also I hate crabs too. There's that one scene with the crab. It's like
Oh
I hate
yeah,
crabs too. But and also the thought of being buried in the sand and like there's nothing you can do. It reminds me of the if any of you have ever if any of you played the most recent Indiana Jones game, The Great Circle on PS5
I
or
haven't.
Xbox, wherever you have.
I am The only new game I'm really playing right now is Pragmata, but I haven't played the new indie game.
But so there's a sequence in the game, it's kind of like midway through the game, where you're in Egypt and Indy is buried in the sand,
Ooh.
and like the only thing that's free is his head and like parts of his hands,
Mm.
and so there's a sequence where, because the villain puts Indy in that situation basically, and so the villain and the rest of his Nazi crew go away,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a sequence where you have to blow a bunch of scorpions that are coming at you.
Oh
It's
lord.
really, yeah, it's really creepy. So watching this part of Creepshow, it's like kind of reminded me of that a little bit, and it was kind of unsettling. um,
Um, I don't know if this is scientifically accurate or not, but hear me out on this. Follow me. Sand is in tons of grains is in like a lot. It tends to be more thicker than dirt soil, from what I hear. Like it's much harder to dig through. And I don't know if it's true or not, but they mentioned this in the movie Buried, which is a movie that it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. But if I want to do it for the podcast, I will gladly watch it again, even if I end up getting disturbed. No, no pun intended. But not that we bought up Disturb the band, but again, that's just buried in sand, buried in sand. That shit's horrifying.
yeah, and then again with the ocean coming at you, which makes it even more terrifying. Um, And with this segment, I really love that it ends with Leslie Nielsen's character Richard getting his comeuppance, because the two come back to
Yes,
life and as like seaweed monsters
yes.
again, looking like a bit of a Scooby Doo villain.
I
um,
know, but like, it just even like him trying to shoot them, it's just like, nah, ain't gonna work. Like it's funny because like when you see like scary ghost and zombie monsters, like oh crap, run, but you're just like yes, get them, sick them, sick them.
yeah. It's like, man, you're rooting for those two to fucking rip his brains out, you
Oh,
know.
yeah,
And
but no, they kind of did the same thing to him. He's like, I can hold
yeah,
my breath. It's just like, you
yeah.
sure about that? You
Yeah,
sure about
and
that?
the segment ends on a freeze frame with him getting covered in water.
Oh
So
yeah. Do you think you can actually escape that? Like, hear me out. Like, just kind of move your head, kind of bend your neck down, start digging at your chin, and then like, kind of keep kind of like digging around. Maybe lean your head just to get the sand away into enough where you can get your shoulders at. Just kind of wiggle your way out of it, little by little. Do
yeah,
you think it's
and
possible to get out of that? Because like
maybe. I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know.
shoot,
Has anybody ever tried it?
I don't want to try it. That's for sure. Mythbusters, get on that shit. Assuming you're still on the air,
I
like
don't
get
know if
on
they're still on
Mythbusters, get
there.
on it. Assuming you're still on the air, like
um,
I know people said it was physically impossible to get out of the Kill Bill thing, but what about the freaking Creepshow thing?
yeah,
Like still, I mean, being buried, scariest fucking thing in the world.
and also too, think about it from Harry's perspective, Ted Danson's character perspective. Now, Richard puts a fucking TV in front of him that's playing what's going on with his lover.
Mm.
It's like not only that, but you have to watch the same exact thing happening to your girlfriend.
That is fucking horrifying. What
Yeah.
a it's you're already giving him a very painful death. And now you got to make him watch his girlfriend die. You sick
Yeah.
bastard.
The girlfriend who was also Richard's wife too, because remember that's his whole motivation was, you know, his wife
Yeah.
was cheating on him with Harry. So,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, bit of an Easter egg, but did you notice that in Harry's apartment there are a whole bunch of plants around?
Let me guess. Those are the plants from the lonely death of Jordy Verlian.
I don't know if they're the same plants, but I do find it's interesting that there's a that his apartment's full of plants after a segment that's
Hmm.
has a lot of plants. It's all about
Oh yeah.
plants. So,
Not gonna lie, my next guess would have been are one of those from Little Shop of Horrors.
I don't know. I didn't like freeze frame it and I didn't pause it and look at all the plants, but
Yeah,
I just thought
maybe
it was interesting that there was a lot of plants in the background.
maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's a
Or maybe it
coincidence.
was or maybe it was intentional. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't bump into George Romero's ghost this morning to ask him. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but honestly, I liked the something to tide you over. I like that. I like the segment. It was very nice. It told a cool revenge story. It had a creepy. It still managed to get that dark comedy, creepy feeling. And I feel like a lot. I feel like the horror came from mostly how both all the characters died via drowning and buried.
yeah, and Leslie Nielsen just
And
absolutely being the best psychopathic millionaire you could ask for.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Dude, I wish that he would have done more horror roles in his career, man. It's
yeah.
like he's so good at it. And the
Mm-hmm.
one horror role I've seen him in, which is this one. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
all right, do you want to move on to the crate now?
Yes, the crate. So
Per
I
pers-
got. Say you first.
Personally, I really like this segment. What about you?
I like it too. So it reminded me of two things, and they all seem very unrelated. One, there was a segment from the Nickelodeon show "Are You Afraid of the Dark," which you might be familiar with if you saw the JonTron video, but it's about a kid who finds a monster in his basement every time he plays music, but he found out he can use it to kill people, and he gets the reward in advance. And also, it reminded me a little bit, not all the way, but just a little bit of the H.P. Lovecraft novel "In the Mountains of Madness," which talks about an Arctic expedition and they discover absolute monstrosities beyond their comprehension.
Well, the crate, no pun intended, has Arctic Expedition, what, 1833 or 1834 written on it. So,
Yeah, I don't know when In the Mountains of Madness took place, so maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's a coincidence.
yeah. 'Cause what's interesting about this story, as well as about the lonely death of Jordy Verrill, is that both of them are based on Stephen King short stories.
Yeah, they
So,
are.
the Jordy Verrill one is based on a short story called Weeds, and then
Mm-hmm.
the crate is based on a story called The Crate. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
this segment has more recognizable actors in it, particularly Adrienne Barbeau, who plays the annoying wife who
Mm.
who dies at the end of the segment.
Oh yeah.
Um, and one other person. So I recognize Adrienne Barbeau and one of the other actors from John Carpenter's The Fog.
Mm.
Let me see. I got the IMDb page here pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hal Hal Holbrook was the guy's name. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I recognized him from John Carpenter's The Fog, and so yeah, Adrienne Barbeau was in that movie as well. Um, but yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was nice. It was nice to see them both in this movie, in this segment, I should say. The, Interestingly, this is actually the longest segment in the movie. Clocks in at almost around 40 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes it the longest of the short stories. But this
Yeah.
one's, I would say, this one's probably my favorite segment in the
Mm.
movie.
Yeah, I like it. It's actually I feel like it's the longest segment though, which I do think is kind of nice. Like because it and what I like about it is like the difference between the two characters. Let me look up their names real quickly. I'll tell you about. Let me excuse me one second. Oh, thank goodness I still have the tab open. Anyways, the crate. So, the difference between Henry and no, not wait, is it Henry? Yeah, Henry and Stanley. So Stanley is completely
Yeah.
traumatized by the monster and doesn't
Hmm.
want it to get out. He-
Yeah.
Henry, on the other hand, is just like, wait, I could use this to kill my bitch ass wife.
Yeah.
I apologize. I apologize. I've been swearing a lot this episode, viewer. I don't. I've been trying to watch my swearing just in general, but
Man,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck about your swearing. I don't give a fuck. I don't think any viewers give a fucking shit either.
Well, that's a damn fucking relief that nobody gives a fucking damn about my shit and swearing. You hear that, bitch bastard?
Okay, so
Anyways, so like I like how like everyone deals with the monster different. Like Henry Henry sees it as like an opportunity. He's unfazed by the killings and the blood, whereas Stanley's just like, oh shit, this is a monster, it's evil. Ah.
yeah, I mean,
Oh
hell, Henry even just straight up goes to the thing and is like, "I'm just gonna mop up all this blood from the janitor and the other person who was killed.
yeah.
I'm gonna lure my bitch wife down here."
And I feel like he definitely has he has more of a psychotic sense since he like fantasizes about killing his wife.
I was gonna say because I think I like that they established early on that it's like it seems like nobody likes Billy, his wife, because
Uh
she's just so, for lack of a better term, bitchy. Like I don't know how
yeah,
else to describe it.
she sucks. She sucks.
Yeah,
She's a wench.
yeah. So so it's like I like that they established it early on, and I like those sequences where he fantasizes about killing her because it's like it's a glimpse into his mental state.
Oh
You know?
yeah.
So and it sets up kind of the end of the segment when he lures her down there to feed her
Oh
to
yeah.
the crate creature, which by the way on set was called Fluffy on set.
Fluffy. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Although the
Wasn't
creature
like
is never actually named in the movie,
yeah.
but people
Well,
have always referred to the creature as Fluffy because that's what it was
that's so
called on
funny.
set. So
Um so as brutal as it was for the janitor to get killed, I found it funny how he sees a pair of glowing eyes. He's like, "Oh my gosh, emeralds!" Proceeds to
yeah,
reach it in. Like he doesn't like bother inspecting him further. Just like he just assumes like, "Holy crap, jewels!" and then rip, tear, and death.
yep. I did kind of feel bad for the janitor though. Poor
Oh
guy.
yeah, poor janitor. Also, I find it
Yeah.
funny how the creature decides to move his crate under the staircase before like deciding to go back in. It's like I almost thought for a second he probably just like popped his lower half out and just started dragging
Yeah.
both him and the crate over back to the staircase. But nah,
Yeah.
he's got the strength to be private and everything.
I mean, to
For
be
some
fair, it's like, how long has that creature been locked in that crate for? I
I don't
mean,
know.
for at least 100 years at the very least.
Yeah. But going back to the Mountains of Madness, because like I kept thinking Arctic Expedition 18 something. I'm like, is there a freaking Shoggoth in there or Shoggoth, which is a HP Lovecraft creature I started becoming more fascinated by because of a completely different game, but that's another story for another time. Anyways, like Jennifer I was like, is this gonna be like is there gonna release a freaking Shoggoth onto the world? I was like, nah, it's a freaking Yeti, which is fine. It's just fine. He's fine.
I like I do like the design though of the creature or Fluffy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because again, going back to that 50s pulp thing, it very
Mm-hmm.
much looks like a classic sort of crate monster that you would probably see in one of those
Yeah.
comics, or just feels very of the
It
time.
it feels like a very horrifying Yeti. It looks like what happens if you ever been on like Disneyland. What's that freaking bobsled ride at Disneyland?
Um,
The Matterhorn.
Snow
Yeah, yeah, the Matterhorn.
Matterhorn, yeah.
If you ever been on the Matterhorn, you know there's like little Yetis and stuff in there. It reminds me of a combination of that plus like a snarling beast,
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah. like like I feel like the horror is like not only the fact he can kill you, but like in the face as well. Just like imagine that's the last thing you see before you just get like slaughtered and eaten. That shit's horrifying.
Also, too, the horror also comes from the guy who's willing to feed his wife to it.
Oh
So,
yeah. And here's the thing: the Yeti seems to value Fluffy seems to value his privacy. So when Henry pushes the crate into the ocean, But the crate opens under the pressure. Do you think the Yeti will either find a new place to hide, or will he wreak havoc on whoever crosses his path, or which path he crosses?
Yeah, it's another somewhat ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Uh, I have a feeling he's gonna find another place to hide.
Oh yeah.
So that's my interpretation.
Honestly, that makes sense considering the creature's behavior. He's gonna be hiding somewhere out there. You
But
never know.
I also kind of like the how they ended it with him with the creature being alive.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
kind of leaves you on a bit of a uncertain ending. You know, yeah, the
Yeah.
two characters are still alive. You know,
Reminds me
Henry
of,
and
of a lot
Stanley.
of classic horror films. Reminds me of a lot of classic horror films.
Yeah, because a lot of horror movies, a lot of classic horror movies, end on a somewhat ambiguous ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hell, even some of Romero's movies, I think, end on either an uncertain ending or a bleak as fuck ending, like Night of the Living Dead.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I saw the ending of Night of the Living Dead on TV in a very same parody. That's another story for another time. Anyways, yeah, the crate. This it was a very cool segment. Was definitely a lot longer, and the pacing was slow but well worth it. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. And the creature was cool, and I think the biggest ending has the horror. That's all I gotta say about the crate. Drew.
Yeah, I also like the I also like some of again going back to the set design. I do
Uh-huh.
like the set design of the college campus. It looks
Mm-hmm.
very like looks a little spacious, and it looks. I also kind of like how they adding to the horror of it. The the characters we follow in the movie are pretty much the only characters there, so it adds this feeling of like emptiness and like shit. No one's here to help me deal with this crate creature. So
Mm.
you know that was
Yeah.
again it adds to the horror. It adds to the atmosphere where somebody can get away with feeding their wife to a creature and
Oh
nobody would
yeah.
notice.
Nobody will ever know.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's I don't know if anyone will get that reference now. But anyways, yeah. Are you ready to move on to the final segment?
They're creeping up on you, which is
Mm-hmm.
um fun fact about this segment. This segment featured the most expensive element of the movie for the
The
production
bugs.
wise. Each cockroach that you see cost 50 cents a piece.
Are
You
those
can
like
see how
robot cockroaches or real cockroaches?
real cockroaches.
Holy shit. How do you manage real cockroaches on a set?
Well, they shot it all in a very specific, tiny, confined area. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, after they were done shooting this movie, when they were tearing the sets down, because all this movie was mostly shot in Pittsburgh, where George Romero
Mm-hmm.
is from. That's where his production company was. Um, but even when they were tearing the sets down, they were still finding cockroaches in various areas.
Holy shit.
So they really didn't contain all of them.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
That is absolutely wild, I tell you.
And again, going back to the theme of revenge, it sets up so this guy, I think the actor's name is E.G. Marco, I think is the guy's name.
Yeah.
The actor's name.
He's like he plays as like an evil CEO.
Evil, super germophobic CEO. And it's like, I like that they included those phone calls of him being a dick to people. And, you know, there's even that one really grim part where someone's wife calls him, is like, yeah, my husband committed suicide because of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I hope you fucking die and all that shit. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like the this segment goes out of his way to like show this guy as like this guy could not be a bigger piece of shit if they tried.
Oh yeah,
So I was
he's
like,
even mean to like the freaking. He's even mean to like the assistant people. We're like, okay, Mister Pratt.
mhm,
Like he's even mean to the people who try and give an upbeat attitude. Just like, come on, dude.
yeah. And so you don't feel bad when the cockroaches eat him alive from the
Yeah.
inside.
Still, if dude, cockroaches in real life don't actually do that, do they?
I don't think so.
All right, that's fucking horrifying to think about.
Yeah, it's
Easy, Duck Man. I know 200 ways to kill a man. You can hot glue a jar of rats to his stomach and blowtorch the bomb so he have to eat his way out. 201 ways. Oh, Duck Man. But anyways, um, like,
this is definitely the grossest segment in the movie.
oh yeah, yeah. I just had to reference that Duckman stuff because that's what it reminded me of. Anyways, but yeah, just like, just again, it's like, yeah, the dude's a piece of shit, but like, fucking roaches, man. Like, oh yeah, do not watch that segment while eating. I was eating lunch
Yeah.
while watching it, just like, I kind of looked back at my sandwich right now, and I was like, okay, good, there's no bugs. Reminded me of the end of that
Yeah.
one Chowder episode where the rat put a freaking cockroach in a sandwich to run the people run Chowder and Bung out of business. But anyways, yeah, don't watch that segment while eating. I didn't throw up, man. I just got the quivers.
Yeah.
That should that should
Yeah,
be like,
this was definitely the segment that made me like go like ugh, you know,
yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
I will say I do like the fact that they made uh Pratt's apartment look very sterile, look very
Oh
like
yeah.
it's very white. Everything is either white or like light blue or something,
Yeah.
and it
Freaking Patrick
makes
Bateman's apartment looks better.
yeah, and it makes you can easily identify each cockroach, which you
Oh
can
yeah.
which you can argue makes it even grosser.
It
But
does. It does. And here's a theory: the wife of the guy who died. Do you think she might have caused this somehow? Like, do you think she actually laid a curse, like some witch doctor, or?
well, I do know it's established in the segment that that Pratt was trying to call an exterminator
Mm-hmm.
to come to his apartment and
Oh
exterminate the
yeah.
pests. And it's like I wonder, did somebody interfere with the exterminator just out of spite, out of hatred of this guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, did the exterminator himself intentionally like delay things? Like,
Hmm. Or maybe the blackout was untimely timing, no pun intended. But then
yeah.
again, the fact the woman was able to call Mr. Pratt during the blackout, I don't know if that's
Mhm.
like a psychological thing or something, but it just makes it all the more haunting.
Well, I think when you see the cockroaches eating them, and you know, because that phone call is playing over, I think that was meant to be psychological
Mm-hmm.
because it's from basically the same recording that we heard like 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just a neat piece of sound design.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. And I think also, as goofy as this sounds, I feel it was kind of funny how one of the effects is just like a bunch of like a brown cardboard piece like rolling up to Pratt as he's screaming or just like kind of closing on him. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but and then like at the end, the door guy's like, "Mr. Pratt, are you there?" And like when he realizes he's not there, he just starts yelling at him, mocking him, like, "Oh, that's how you treat me, you butthole." And just like you could just see his corpse lying there, where all the roaches like bleed out of him and
hmm
just cut open out. Yeah, and
it's also ironic that a super intense germaphobe would die at the hands of bugs. The very thing he was trying to stop from happening ended up happening.
indeed. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about creeping around. It was a nice segment to end on. It's spooky and darkly comedic and a little gross, especially if you're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it was a very nice segment. It was definitely a segment at the top of all segments. Granted, I still think the crate and something that tied you over are probably somewhere in my favorites. But you know, the creeping up on you was a nice segment.
It's a nice, gross, horrifying segment. And
Indeed,
segments on.
grossly nice.
Yeah, and then it cuts and then it transitions back to the garbage people picking up the garbage from the intro scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I also here's another detail. I don't know if you noticed during the transitions, but during the transitions you briefly see advertisements for a voodoo doll.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
And so I like how that all comes back at the end because you see the garbage people looking through the comic book and you see, oh, the ad for the voodoo doll has already been taken out. So
Mm-hmm.
they've already sent for the voodoo doll. And then
Yep.
it cuts back to the family and the dad, again played by Tom Atkins, is like, man, I didn't get much sleep. I didn't get much sleep last night. He's like, I got this neck pain, and then he starts getting hurt all over, hurt all over, and it
Oh.
cuts back to the kid. He has the voodoo doll, and he's doing that as a revenge for his dad throwing out the comic book and berating him for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So again, it all ties back together. It all ties back to revenge when you really think about it.
Mm-hmm. All revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really like that again with uh, because a lot of these segments are about shitty people getting their comeuppance.
Oh yeah.
The wraparound segments is about a shitty person getting his comeuppance. So
Oh yeah.
it fits so perfectly.
Very, very much. I feel like the only person who didn't deserve what they got was Jordy.
Yeah, his was definitely like the most sad.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't ask for any of this.
Yeah.
He
He's just
got
a
a little
simple
too
guy
curious.
working on a farm.
He got a little too curious when a meteor hit his front lawn. So,
Yeah. Everyone else though got their comeuppance.
yeah, everyone else who got their comeuppance deserved it.
Mhm. But that leads us to the end of the movie. Creepshow was pretty cool, all things considered. Started off slow, but so as it went along, I got invested and really enjoyed watching it. First segment was slow. Second segment, kind of picked up picked up halfway through, and then the rest was kind of an interesting thrill ride. And it felt like I was in like an old '80s theater or a drive-in theater. And honestly, I think this would be a great drive-in movie.
Yeah, I would like to see this in theaters. I actually almost did a couple months ago.
Hmm.
So I think every year, um, the Regal Cinemas does this thing where, because I know they did this past October, where each day in October they'll play a classic horror movie. And
Nice.
so I saw Wes Craven's New Nightmare in theaters this past October through that. But I think like a week after that they were playing Creepshow, and
Oh.
I almost went to it, but unfortunately it was the day before I had a major presentation in my public speaking class, so I had to
Ah,
practice that instead. You know,
I see. I see.
yeah.
Well,
And what's also cool about those particular showings is that tickets are like $8, so
oh,
it's
I'm
cheap.
so jealous. I gotta look for a discount theater near me. I really have to look up for a discount theater near me.
Well, I think it's discounted because it's an old movie. That's probably why it was discounted. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
wasn't, they're also they don't show those in IMAX or anything. It's just standard showing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping if they do it again next year, I do want to go to more of them because it's like I love seeing classic horror movies in theaters.
Nice. I love seeing good movies in theaters.
Yeah, I've seen the classic horror movies I've seen in theaters are the original Jaws, if you consider that a horror movie. I sort of do, but I
Yeah,
don't think it
it's
matters. I've also seen the original Halloween in theaters.
hmm,
I've seen another Romero movie, Dawn of the Dead, in theaters. I saw it in 3D when it was re-released a couple years ago.
nice.
Because that was like one of the only official ways you could watch it because it's never been printed on Blu-ray or anything. Um,
That stinks.
yeah, that's a whole other thing we can
Excuse me.
get into when we cover Dawn of the Dead eventually.
Yeah.
Um,
I only saw the
and
remake of Dawn of the Dead. I never saw the original.
yeah, and I also saw Wes Craven's New Nightmare in theaters as well. That was actually the first time I had seen that movie in theaters. Wasn't when I saw it in theaters as part of the whole Regal thing I mentioned a minute ago. So
Cool.
it
Yeah,
was very cool.
that's super cool. But yeah, it's any other parting words for Creepshow?
It's a very good movie, and I'm glad I got the Steelbook for it. It was
Hell
$20
yeah.
at Barnes and Noble. It was great. It's great.
Hell yeah. Creepshow was an interesting watch. I'm so glad I watched it, and it was. I'm definitely gonna remember it. Again, it started off slow, but as it went along, I enjoyed it and I really liked it. And that's all I have to say. Creepshow is
And
a creepy good time.
one more thing I would like to say.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Creepshow 2 yet, but I have seen parts of. So there was um a
There was a
Creepshow
TV show.
TV show that came out on Shutter a few years back. It's all still on Shutter. I've seen a few
Mhm.
episodes of it, and a lot of them are pretty good. I'll say that.
Cool. Cool.
Thought I'd throw that little tidbit here at the end. So.
Yeah. And
Oh,
if
and
you're
I think it was done by some of the producers of The Walking Dead, because I think Greg Nicotero was involved in it. So
nice. 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 All right. So, you okay if I think I'll end the episode here unless Drew you have more things to say.
I don't really have things to say. I've said it
Alrighty.
all.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials, and subscribe to Movie Mortis for more movie madness. Have a good night, everybody. I got no real stinger here.